National Prosecuting Authority and Power Utility Eskom are collaborating to ensure effective responses to serious crimes and state capture cases. The entities have agreed that holding to account those responsible is a priority. They also intend to focus on other crimes like cable theft and damage to essential infrastructure. Let's get more on this agreement now. And the conversation I'm about to have is with the NPA spokesperson and special advisor to the NPA head. That's Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga. Advocate Mhaga, thank you very much for your time. Give us some detail of this collaboration between yourselves and Eskom. What exactly are you going to be sharing?
Good morning, Xoli, and your viewers. Of importance, Xoli, is the fact that Eskom is a very important stakeholder, and therefore it became necessary and important to establish a working relationship with them because of their interest in matters that relate to Eskom. You will be aware that the fourth State of Capture Commission of Inquiry report has been released, and the investigating directorate, the ID, is busy investigating cases that relate to Eskom. And therefore, it's important that there'll be collaborative work that gets underway in order to ensure that the efforts of investigating and prosecuting those responsible for corruption and state capture at Eskom are held to account, and that those efforts are bolstered. Yeah. This agreement entails also information sharing and evidence sharing that is in possession of Eskom as appropriate without compromising the independence of the NPA in order to ensure that we successfully prosecute those responsible.
Yeah.
You must also, you've also touched on the issue of cable theft and damage to essential infrastructure. We will work closely with Eskom in order to assist them in ensuring that those investigations and prosecutions are successful, working with law enforcement and crime intelligence, because you will know for a fact that in most cases they arrest the runners, not those that orchestrate or are organizing or behind the scenes in ensuring that they actually benefit from these cable theft crimes. So we want to ensure that we get those as well.
Yeah. Mr. Mhaga, it's no secret, I put it to you, that the Eskom executives, the current executives in office, while they are being frustrated by load shedding on the one end, which whose heads, by the way, are now on the line as people ask for their resignations, but they also have equally been frustrated with you, the National Prosecuting Authority, in the slow pace of tackling some of the cases, particularly those emerging from the state capture side. Who approached who in this relationship?
The Eskom CEO had indicated that he's been trying to get us to a meeting, and we've also been looking forward to meeting with them. It's understandable, the frustration, but you must understand, Xoli, that the State Capture Commission does not conduct criminal investigation. And therefore, the test that they are using is not that of proof beyond reasonable doubt and that which is applied in criminal law. And therefore, there needs to be a thorough investigation of evidence that emanates from the Commission by the law enforcement, that is the DPCI, which is why there is a task force that has been established to coordinate those cases and ensure that the evidence that comes through for prosecution is evidence that is sufficient to ensure that we sustain a conviction in the event of a prosecution of those responsible or implicated by that evidence. So the process is quite protracted given the fact that there still needs to be an investigation conducted first before prosecution.
Yeah. All right. That's a very crucial element you've just mentioned there. The Eskom CEO approaching, and it in part stems from their frustration. You mentioned earlier that there will be information sharing. That, I also put to you, is not something that will only start now. That information, I suspect, has been flowing to the NPA. Just how much information has been shared thus far?
Look, I will not delve into investigative method and strategies because that will compromise the very prosecution that we want to succeed. But there has been information sharing, there has been cooperation, but it's not at the level at which the national director would want to have it, hence the meeting of the two leadership yesterday.
All right. Any specific names that you might be looking at? There are some people who have been tweeting feverishly, and I suspect it's part of Andre de Ruyter's frustration that, well, once you were at the helm of this institution and you are tweeting feverishly about just how useless you think we are as an executive, talk to us about possible names that you might be looking at in the days and months to come.
I know you're pushing me, Oli, and you're trying your luck, but you're not going to win. I'm not at liberty at this stage to disclose names of people that are implicated in the investigation that we're conducting, but we'll be bringing in cases in the coming months, seminal cases, so watch this space.
All right, we'll continue to watch the space, Mr. Mhaga. Let's then touch on the Senzo Meyiwa matter. It is one that has embarrassed South Africa's law enforcement authorities. Let me put it to you that way. Just offhand, without the issues, the recent issues that have played themselves out publicly, is the NPA satisfied with the level of work you have put in on this case, which will officially turn 8 years unresolved in October?
Importantly, Xoli, is the fact that there is evidence that has been placed before the prosecution team led by Advocate George Baloyi at the DPP office in Pretoria, that is North Gauteng. And that evidence is sufficient to sustain a conviction against the implicated and those charged with the commission of the offense. Therefore, the National Prosecuting Authority is confident of a conviction in the long run, but the way in which the proceedings are going was satisfied.
You're confident of a conviction in the long run. Are you confident of the conviction of the 5 that are before court right now?
That is certainly what I am saying.
And the lawyer that is keeping a watching brief on behalf of the family, I'm talking someone here that you know very well, Advocate Gerinel. He is of the strong opinion, and he has voiced that publicly, that there is a mastermind in this particular matter. Do you hold the same view as the prosecuting authority?
We hold the view that the people that have been charged are the ones that are responsible for the crime committed. We're not going to get into a blow-by-blow account with Advocate Gerinel on issues that I believe he holds. Of importance is the fact that we have suspects before court, accused persons before court. Let's be allowed to ventilate the issues there.
You've distanced yourself on the arrest of a defense advocate in this particular matter, and this was done much to the displeasure of the head of the courts in this country, the Chief Justice. What evidence is there that you did not work hand in glove with the police in the manner in which this arrest was conducted?
The Director of Public Prosecutions in the South Gauteng office, Advocate Andrew Chauke, investigating the matter after the statement from the South African Police Service, and established that there was no communication between himself and the investigating officer, and nowhere or at no stage was a communication sent to SAPS on the manner in which the warrant of arrest should be executed. And therefore, the NPA is not responsible for the manner in which the advocate was apprehended by law enforcement. That matter rests squarely with SAPS.
And so, in simple language, Advocate Mhaga, you're saying that the statement that was issued by the South African Police Service, at least the spokespeople there, that this was on the instruction of a particular prosecutor in the South Gauteng division, that was an absolute lie.
that statement is inaccurate, as investigations have revealed that no such instruction was given.
Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga, thank you very much for that update. He speaks for the National Prosecuting Authority and indeed the Special Advisor to the NPA head, Shamila Batoy.